Hi friends, my name is Jess and welcome back to my channel, Books Past Bedtime. Today we are going to be doing my June wrap-up. June turned out to be a fairly average reading month compared to like March, April, and May. I did read 6 things in June, which is actually my lowest average of any month so far this year, but I'm really okay with it because I am definitely starting to get in a better reading flow and a better like mood and everything than I had been recently. So I'm really looking forward to July and what I can accomplish in the upcoming month, but I do want to reflect on this past month a little bit, so let's just talk about all the things that I read in June. I also did get a new friend yesterday. Look at her, she's so cute. So if you see that, that's what that is. Yeah. As always, let's start out with my reading stats for the month of June. So like I mentioned, in June I did read a total of 6 things, and I'm specifying things because one of the 6 things that I read was a fanfiction. So, but it still counts because it's reading, okay? And this is, I make the rules around here, so that's what's happening. My page breakdown, I read a total of 2,119 pages in June, and I did listen to about 14.5 hours of audio, most likely on 2 times speed, so that's more like 7 actual hours of audiobook listening that happened in June. My average rating for June was a little bit lower. It was a 3.25, and I apparently only acquired 1 book, and I don't know if that's right, and I don't feel like checking. So in terms of genre, I read 1 classic, 1 horror, which was also like an anthology, so it's a horror anthology, 3 romance books, and 1 thriller. In terms of format, I listened to 2 books, majority audio. 1 I read as an ebook, I believe that's the fanfiction, and then the other 3 books I read physically or with a combination of like the physical book and the audiobook. In terms of audience, I read 4 adult books, 1 like children's book, children's classic, and then 1 new adult book. As far as author identity and gender goes, I read 1 book by an author who uses he, him pronouns or is male identifying, and 4 books by authors that use she, her pronouns or female identifying, and the author of the fanfiction, I don't know how they identify because they write those anonymously for the most part. As far as race goes, I read from 1 Latinx author, 4 white authors, and 1 author that I am unsure about. As far as author status goes, I had read 4 of these authors before, but 2 were new to me. And in terms of ratings, I had 1 4.5-star book, 1 3.5-star book, 3 3-star books, and 1 2.5-star book. In terms of my June TBR, I read 1 book of 6 from my tarot TBR game, and then I believe I read 4 of 12 total books that were on my June TBR, so not great, but at least most of the things I read were actually on my TBR. I don't know, I think I'm gonna switch up how I do my TBR next month, so look out for that. Not working very well for me, needless to say. But anyway, let's just jump right into talking about the things that I actually did read. I am going to go in order from what I liked the least to what I liked the most. Without further ado, let's just talk about my least favorite thing that I read this month was, and that was unfortunately the fanfiction that I was mentioning earlier. This was called From 8 Until Late, I Think About You by Supernome, if anybody cares. This is basically a Larry fanfiction.
Shocking, I know.
But I think they're like YouTubers or something. I don't know, it's kind of dumb. I didn't really like it very much, and this is what I gave 2.5 stars to. Moving right along, my second least favorite thing I read in June was probably The People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is an adult romance book about these 2 characters, Poppy and Alex, and they were college friends and they would always go on vacation together to keep their friendship alive every summer. But something happened like 2 years ago. They had this falling out. Poppy messages Alex one day out of the blue because she really misses him, and she's like, hey, do you want to go on one last vacation together and just see if we can rekindle our friendship? And he agrees, and so they plan this vacation and kind of come back together, reform their friendship, realize that they actually have feelings for each other and always have. And it was a really cute concept. It was really fun, well written. I don't know. I feel like everyone loves Emily Henry so much, but she just doesn't have that spark for me. I did enjoy Beach Read quite a bit, not as much as everyone else, but I did give that one 4 stars last year, I believe. But that was because I really liked the family aspects of that, and we don't get that in this one. This is purely romance about the 2 characters. There's not really a whole lot else going on, and I need more in my romance to be really drawn into it than just the 2 main characters, especially if they're like pretty boring, quirky white people. Like, I don't know, they weren't very interesting to me. And also the main character Poppy does not shower once in the entire book, and I specifically noticed this because Alex showers like every 2 hours, and it's like made a point that Poppy doesn't shower, and she even says like once or twice like,
I'm more of like a once a week shower kind of person.
Girl, what? Like, I know they tell you not to wash your hair every day, but you're supposed to wash your body every day. Like, get in the shower. It was so disgusting to me. I'm very concerned about her hygiene habits, and I don't understand how Alex, who is such a clean freak, wanted to sleep with her because she must have smelled awful. I don't know. I just, ugh, gross. No thank you. But other than Poppy's hygiene habits, I just couldn't get behind the romance in this book. I just wasn't a huge fan, didn't really like the main characters, and just didn't really vibe with the story. I don't know, it was kind of boring. I don't know, I just didn't love this as much as everyone else and ended up giving it like 2.5, 3 stars. I think I probably gave it 3, but maybe it's more at 2.5. Next is a book I feel very neutral about, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is a children's classic. I'm sure everyone knows of it. I enjoyed it. I really liked the characters, but it's very long and it's honestly very boring. There's very little plot. It's just about these 4 sisters growing up. They are growing up in the time of like the Civil War, I believe, and their dad is like all fighting, and they're at home like trying to become ladies and get married and have kids and blah 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 blah. And I did really enjoy reading about the lives of all of the sisters. I just feel like this book would have been better if it had some kind of direction. I just didn't. There was a lot in it that I didn't care about, their day-to-day lives, and like I think it could have been condensed quite a bit, and that's why I really love the 2019 movie adaptation so much. I think it really took what's good about the source material and emphasized it and condensed it into a format that's very enjoyable and makes a lot of sense, and that is just like beautifully done. I really like the 2019 adaptation. They also made Laurie a lot more likable in the adaptation because he is awful in this book. I don't know how anyone stands Laurie. I hated him so much. Oh my god. He is the most misogynistic little jerk that thinks the world owes him something and that thinks Joe in particular owes him something. No, sir, that is not how this works. You can go take a seat. Goodbye. Ugh, I hated him. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend wasting your time reading this. I guess I'm glad that I read it. It's a classic, but I only gave it 3 stars, and I think the movie is way better. I'm getting kind of hot. Next in my little ranking is Things We Lost in the Fire by Mariana Enriquez. This is a short story anthology collection of 4 short stories, and they are all set in South America, I believe. And like most short story anthologies, I really loved some of these stories. I thought quite a few of them were stellar, and if I had read them by themselves, I would rate 5 stars easily. Loved them. I thought they were so good and so interesting. But a lot of these stories left me feeling unsatisfied. Like I just felt like they ended too abruptly and they ended for the climax, and I was overall just a little disappointed by some of the stories, so I just decided to give this a good average 3-star rating because I feel like I think I did individually rate every story and like average it out, and it came out to about a 3, so I think that's pretty fair. I think there's a lot of good in this, and I liked like the cultural elements and the influence of South America in the stories, and I thought the writing was excellent. A lot of the stories just felt unfinished to me, so it wasn't something that blew me out of the water, if you know what I mean. And then my second favorite book that I read in June, I actually only rated 3.5 stars, so it wasn't a huge win, but it was still a pretty fun read, and that was Scorpio Hates Virgo by Anyana Sunday. This is a little romance series that Anyana Sunday has going on that has to do with like star signs and how different star signs interact with each other and how they like fall in love with each other. This is obviously a hate to love romance. It is male-male. Both of our main characters are male. They are like childhood rivals. They lived in the same neighborhood and just like never really got along fully, and it was really cute and fun. Nothing revolutionary, but definitely like a light, fun, fluffy read. Sometimes you need those, and this was definitely a pretty decent one. And now my favorite book that I read in June was The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. This is definitely up there in my Riley Sager ranking. I actually am going to do a video soon talking about all of Riley Sager's books and ranking them. If you didn't know, this is a thriller that takes place in a summer camp, and it follows our main character who, when she was a child, attended the summer camp, and all of her cabin mates actually went missing and no one ever found them. So the camp was shut down. There was all this bad publicity, but then like 10 or so years later, the camp director approaches her and asks her to come back as a counselor because she's trying to reopen the camp for one last summer, and our main character agrees because she really wants to get some closure, find out what happened to her cabin mates, if there's something weird going on here. So she ends up going back and things get a little crazy. She feels like she's being watched and it feels like there's definitely something weird going on. I really enjoyed this one. It has that weird aspect where you don't know if like something paranormal is going on, you don't know if your narrator is unreliable, and so you really just like don't see the twists coming. I thought this was really well done and I absolutely loved it. It's the perfect summer thriller because, like I said, it takes place at a summer camp during during the summertime, so the vibes are just immaculate. And I really loved this one. I thought it was so well done. Give it 4.5 stars. Definitely up there as far as thrillers go for me. And those are the 6 things that I read in June, as well as all my June reading stats. Let me know down below what the best thing you read in June was. I would love to know. Also, don't forget to like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me. Also, all of the books that I talked about will be linked down in the description below. If you would like to buy any of them, I would really appreciate you doing so through my link. I do get a very small commission if you do so, and it would help support this channel. But either way, I really appreciate you guys being here. If you want, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm not super active over there. I'm kind of on a little bit of a social media detox, but that's the best place to keep up with me on the day-to-day if you're interested. I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.